Not too many people know that you can move to the UK without a job offer. But how? So there's a visa category called as Global Talent Visa, where you don't require a job offer. However, you need your ideas to be endorsed by endorsing body. So today I have a special guest, Yasak, who's going to share his experience and how he moved to the UK without a job offer. So let me introduce you to Isak. Hi, Isak. Hi, welcome to Your Knowledge Buddy.
Hi, it's good to be here today. Thank you very much for inviting me.
You're very welcome. And congratulations, you are one of the few people I met who got Global Talent Visa. So tell me about yourself, and if you can introduce yourself to my audience, please.
Absolutely. Well, excited to be here. Very excited to be here. My name is Isaac Oladipupo. I got endorsed for the Global Talent Visa January this year. And I moved to the UK sometime in April. But basically before then, I founded an edtech firm, an edtech company, a startup that is doing amazing in the edtech space across Africa. And by the side, I'm also a product marketing manager, Yeah. So that's basically what I do. So I applied as that, and I was able to put in a strong application, noting all the requirements. And of course, I got endorsed within 2 weeks.
Okay, amazing. And congratulations, your journey looks really inspiring. And that's why we have you today, so that you can share some examples so that it will help our audience as well. So can you share some examples? So for Global Talent Visa, just a reminder to my audience, there are 3 different categories where you can apply. One is in arts, second is research, and third is digital technology. And this is where Isaac came. So I understand that you need to prepare a proposal for the endorsing body. So in my audience, there are a lot of people who are good in all these 3 categories. The only thing which they are not aware, what kind of ideas they can propose. So can you just give me any examples?
So one of the first things to note to put together a successful application is to position yourself as that person, who is talented. And of course, it also favors people who are still pretty much young, Yeah. So, and in terms of the proposal to put together, really, it's all about telling your story, telling your personal story in a very compelling manner. For instance, why are you applying for the Global Talent Visa? And when you're telling your story, you want to tell your story, in a very coherent, interesting, inspiring manner, from how you grew up. Even if you haven't founded a company, it doesn't matter. So the Global Talent Visa basically is for both founders and also employees that work within the tech space, right? So even if you haven't founded a company, you are qualified as long as you've had some experience with a product-led technology company, and you can put your stories together in a very compelling manner.
And do you have like any examples? Like I have a lot of people in my audience, like I say, you are from technology. There are a lot of people who are working in technology, but they have not started their own company. Do you think they can also venture for it? And what kind of ideas do you think it's accepted?
Okay, great. Yeah, to tell the story of your impacts, your skills, your accomplishments, and then you have to show the proof of this. Now, in doing this, you basically are required to submit 4 different types of documents. The first of these documents really is your personal statements, which I explained earlier. Now, your personal statement is a 3 pages document that should not be more than 1,000 words, where you should storytell why you want to come to the UK. You should storytell the impact you have made. Basically, tell a story about your journey so far from start to finish within 1,000 words. And as much as possible, this is not a time to be humble. You also want to talk about your planned occupation in the UK. If you want to come to the UK to work in the tech space, fine, you talk about it. Which region are you going to stay in the UK? How will the UK benefit from your staying in the UK? Remember, and how you're going to bring that to the UK, to help companies in the UK to work for them, to partner with them, or to bring your company to the UK. Depending on whether you're a founder or an employee within the tech space, right? You are submitting 4 different types of documents, but in total, you're actually submitting 15. So your personal statement is 1. Then you are submitting 3 recommendation letters, right? That will be 3, making 4 with personal statements. Then you're also submitting 10 pieces of evidence, right, that show the proof of all the things you said you have done, which makes it what? 14. And lastly, you're submitting your CV, a copy of your CV. Now, when it comes to the second document, we've talked about personal statements. The second one is are your recommendation letters. So when you're putting your recommendation letters together, they have to be written for you and about you by C-suite executives in well-established organizations. Now, these recommendation letters also have to be within 3 pages and 1,000 words, but they have to be written by C-suite executives within established organizations. Now, the third documents are your pieces of evidences. Now, these ones would be 10 in total, right? Now, here, you are not expected to write plenty words. You are expected to show proof. I'm going to give example of that. Now, for instance, you're expected to show proof of how you have how your work has led to the advancement of your company. You know, remember, the reason why they want to grant you the visa is to bring you to the UK to come and replicate what you have been doing before in your home country, right? So because of that, they want to see that you have a proven track record for innovation, either as a founder or as an employee working in the digital technology space. That is one evidence. So for that kind of evidence, for instance, in my own case, what I showed screenshots of companies' user growth, you know, how we started from zero and got thousands of users under my leadership, right? I also showed record of our revenue. I showed record of our awards. I showed record. So these are the kind of things that you need to show. And that is why you have to be very deliberate about your career, about telling your stories, about keeping record of your impacts while you're working in digital technology. The second kind of evidence you can also show proof of recognition of your work beyond your occupation that contributes to the advancement of the field, right? Now, this has to do with maybe you've volunteered before with an NGO, right? These are part of the evidences that you can show, you know, as long as you have pictures, proof that you've done this and all of that. Another evidence you could show is how you have made significant commercial contribution, you know, to your company or to the field. So these are things you have to put together in different evidences, you know. Of course, there are two kinds of evidences. There's the mandatory evidence and there are optional evidences, right? So you have to put all of these evidences together, and then you are expected to submit 10 at most. Now, within your CV, the mistake I see that most people make is that they are almost always listing their tasks and responsibilities. This is wrong, right? What you should list in your CV should be your accomplishments, you know, in numbers, the things that you have done and how you have helped your company move from point A to point B. So when you have all of this together, you know, you put it together in the appropriate formats that Tech Nation has requested for it. Then you can submit your application for the Tech Nation endorsement. That's the first part. There are 2 stages to this application. All these documents I've mentioned will go into submitting your first application, right, which is for your endorsements. Now,
okay, thank you. So can you share your some examples of the evidence that you have submitted so that it will be helpful for my audience as well?
Yeah, basically, yes, right? So on the screen now, you have one of the evidences that I submitted, right? This was actually my mandatory evidence. So one of the questions that you get asked is to basically show evidence of how you are a leading talent, you know, with the growth of a startup, or how you've contributed to the growth of a product-led tech company, whether as a founder or as an employee, right? So for me, it was very simple. So in March 2021, this is a classical example of how to do this. So you first of all tell your story, right? Like I said earlier, the proof of evidence are not for plenty text, plenty written words. They are for showing proofs like this. You can see these are the evidences. These are the evidences. You know, you can see here. This is an email. This is a reference letter. This is a certificate. You know, and then I put the links there, and I also linked those images so that they are basically unmissable within the evidence. Right now, this is how to start it. You basically start by telling a very simple and short story. By saying this, when you are supplying your evidence, try as much as possible to ensure that you are supplying as many evidences as possible within one category. That will make your evidence stronger, you know, because at the end of the day, you are basically submitting an application where you have thousands of people that they are reviewing. So you want your application to stand out as much as possible. And what your evidence should look like from start to end. You introduce it and you produce as many proof, you know, in terms of screenshots, links, you know, GitHub repo and all of that within that evidence. And then also note that my evidence is within 3 pages: first page, second page, third page, but I put a lot of proof to show that this evidence is valid. Yeah, good.
Thank you very much. That was very detailed, and I think this is going to help my audience definitely. So when you were running this evidence, there's something which came to my mind. So I can see yourself, you are pitching like you were an entrepreneur, you started something and you showed the growth.
Yeah.
I just take an example of a simple case. Say somebody is working in digital technology in any kind of role with, say, just 3 years of experience, and they are
Yeah.
not an entrepreneur. Yeah, they have not started a business. For simple kind of role, can they apply?
Absolutely. So the global talent visa basically is not for entrepreneurs only. As a matter of fact, they are basically looking for talents, because there are a lot of opportunities in the UK. There are loads of companies recruiting roles every day. So it's both for people who have 3 years experience and above and 5 years experience and above.
Thank you very much. Can I just also ask for examples when you said they should be working in tech? What kind of roles are you talking about and what does the tech involve?
Oh, brilliant question. Well, yeah. So the kind of roles that we're talking about also differ. So there are two kind of roles. There's the example of business roles, and that's why it's not just for technical. It's not just for people with technical skills. It's also for people with business skills within the tech space. So there are two examples of the kind of roles that you can actually apply. There are two examples of the kind of roles that qualify you to apply for the global talent visa. The first really is the technical skills. These are people who are basically DevOps, system ops engineers, software engineers, data scientists, AI guys, machine learning experts, cybersecurities, hardware engineers, and the likes, right? So basically, those guys have technical skills, right? And there's also the part for business skills, right? And these are people who are basically within the marketing space. Maybe you are a product marketing manager, or you are basically a product manager, right? Or you are a business lead, or even for HR, if you have vast experience as an HR within a tech space, also this also qualifies you. If you are also basically if you do product design, right? This also qualifies you, right? So it's basically for technical skills and business skills within the tech space. Yeah.
Okay, good. This was very useful because I have a lot of my audience who belong to this field, especially with people who are into product management, sales, marketing, and HR who are struggling to find a job in the UK. So, guys, if you're listening to this interview, you should give a try to the Global Talent Visa. So, Isaac, is there anything else you want to add before we wrap this interview?
Yeah, absolutely. So I just want to say, basically, the Global Talent Visa, for those who want to apply, I would say give it a shot, right? So if you have any experience and you work in a product-led technology company, of course, not consulting, not agency, you are most likely qualified because this visa is actually a tier 1 visa where you don't need proof of funds, you don't need IELTS tests, you don't need high processing fees, you don't need a huge salary. And then the endorsement rate is very fast, within 3 weeks, if you are outside of the UK, within 8 weeks, if you are within the UK. I got mine within 2 weeks, by the way, and you have the freedom to switch jobs and grow your career. You can move with your family, if you get it, and then you can convert to citizenship afterwards. So I basically just advise that you should give this your best shots. When I applied also, I sincerely really wasn't expecting it. And then it came in very, very fast, right? And that was when I realized that, okay, we are actually more powerful than we think we are. So give it your best shots. Don't second guess yourself. And definitely, I wish you all the best.
Thank you very much. This session was quite useful. And by the way, Isaac got his own YouTube channel where he's trying to help people by creating more informative videos. So I'll provide his YouTube video link in the video description. So make sure you go and check out. And also you can reach out to him if you want to chat with him on Instagram, email, or even YouTube.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you for being on my channel. Thanks such informative content for my audience. Thank you very much. And I wish you all the best.
Yeah, well done, Sarika. It's been a pleasure being with you here, and well done on the great job you also do on your channel. Thank you very much.
Thank you.